All right, here we go. Cody Stoots, Landry Locker, playoff time, and also Reaction Monday here on SNL. We hope you'll join us this Friday at Spanky's. John McClain will be in the building. It's going to be a fun time. This one's going to be crowded. I got a feeling it's going to be crowded. It's going to be a little playoff edition. CFP will be going on afterwards as well. So it's going to be a fun night. We hope to see you out there at Spanky's. Probably about 4 because the Texans got a unique schedule. Cody, let's just hop right into the game. We'll talk about Pittsburgh as well. But let's talk about the biggest reactions, biggest takeaways from the Texans versus the Colts.
Well, yet again, another typical Texans game as they have the defense, keep it close for a lot. They get just enough on offense, though. The offense needed to finish this thing up, and it was quite a lot of points allowed. Obviously, there's a lot of backups in there for the Texans there in the second half, and that was certainly a curious decision, but got it done, took care of their business, held on to the 5 seed when it felt like at different points throughout that second half they weren't going to hold on to the 5 seed and maybe didn't care if they were the 5 or the 6 seed in the playoff seeding, but they get it done. Kaimi Fairbairn has a great day. They get just enough out of the offense and special teams to get a win, and now they're headed into the playoffs with a chance to break the winning streak record for this franchise's history.
So, but because the obvious is that this game does not matter as much, I'm just going to combine my key moments with the overall thoughts of this game, because I think it was interesting, and I'm focusing on the approach that the Texans took to this game. My first opinion is this, and I will stand by this. They will never admit this, and it would be very dumb if they did admit this, quite frankly. But I think if Pittsburgh beats Cleveland last week, I don't think the Texans bench their starters at the start of the third quarter, and I don't know that Nico Collins even rests. I think that I'm not saying they were scared of Baltimore. I'm just saying whether they faced Baltimore or they had to go to Jacksonville, they really didn't care, and they weren't going to really bend over backwards in order to get the higher seed, which I think is an interesting thing because I think avoiding going to Buffalo would have been a thing. So there were clues right off the top that they weren't taking this game as serious as many maybe thought they would. Clue 1, Nico Collins gets rest. Clue 2, they received the kick. I think if this had been an actual game where the starters were going to play beyond a half, I don't know that they received the kick. We've seen them do it against Tennessee, but I think that might have been a clue as well. And then the fact that they benched CJ Stroud. So I thought the approach was interesting. They won't tell you what they were or were not thinking, but I did think this was an important game to win. And I think that the biggest thing that stuck out that I think is you can kind of connect moving forward, Woody Marks, that week off that they gave him, he's been running incredibly hard ever since. I think his hard running set up the touchdown to Higgins. And I also think this team, when it comes to receiver depth on the offensive end, I think they've come a long, long way to where they can comfortably give Nico Collins rest, because they would not have been able to do that last year, and they, especially with Diggs and Tank Dill out, and they wouldn't have been able to do it the year before. So I think the depth that they've built at receiver, I think it was kind of on display to where they could comfortably give Nico Collins a rest. So those are my biggest takeaways. Key moment, the coin toss, the inactives. And then outside of that, we can nickel and dime some stuff and maybe take some context clues. But those are the key moments as we kind of rush through this game and get into playoff mode.
Yeah, I do feel like there is one thing that's been present here in the back end of the season. I wrote about this on Houston Football. I mentioned it on the recap last night, and it kind of goes into a key moment, an early key moment. The Texans, they end up with 3 on that first drive. And then 3 plays later, the Colts are in the end zone thanks to Alec Pierce. And it's like, okay, he's done that before. He's had a really big play. And, let's see if that's going to continue. Oh, it continued. And the Colts had, I believe it was 6 explosive passing plays in this game. They decided to keep it in the air for a lot of this. And they had 6 explosive passing plays in this game. And they scored on every drive. They had an explosive passing play, either a touchdown or a field goal. Explosive plays is the only way teams move the ball against the Texans defense. There's not very many teams that can go put, 12, 13 play drives together against this defense and do it on a consistent basis throughout the course of the game. And when you have seen the Texans here on the back part of the season give up points and give up a lot of yards, ultimately leading to points, it's been primarily on explosive plays. And I even go back to San Francisco, which is in the early part of the season. It was 3 or 4 explosive plays that even gave San Fran the chance to put points on the board. So that's something to watch and pay attention to. And I know D'Amico Ryans talked about it today at the podium, but explosive plays are one of those like, okay, it's just kind of sitting there. And that feels like the way you can get to the Texans if you find that mistake and take a big advantage of it.
Yeah, I agree with you, everything that you said. I will say this though, when it comes to Alec Pierce, he's the can man. Like anyone can get it, and anyone did get it yesterday. He gave it to Tremont Smith. He gave it to Derek Stingley. Touchdowns, those plays. He gave it to Kevon Wallace on the PI. 42 got him some at the start. So
Jamarcus Ingram.
Yeah, he was the can man yesterday for sure. So I do agree with you though on that. I think there's a little bit of vulnerability in the middle, and I actually think Pittsburgh. First of all, they're going to have to get the ball out of Aaron Rodgers' hands very quick. There's no doubt about that. But I do think they have like some intermediate passing options. I'm not going to say Pat Freiermuth was, any of the like Bowers or McBride, but he's pretty good. And Gamewell is one of those guys that you put in the slot that, are you putting Jalen Petrie on Gamewell? That's probably not going to go too well for you. And Austin, who we saw score the touchdown yesterday, you got to factor in that DK goes on the outside, and you got to think they can move him around a little bit. So nobody's going to mistake Pittsburgh for a good offense, but I think to your point, I do think Pittsburgh has some guys that can perhaps expose these weaknesses that D'Amico has spoken on and that you just so eloquently laid out.
Yeah, DK Metcalf can get you some explosive plays, and they certainly have some guys that you look up, and the next thing you know, old ass Aaron Rodgers is putting it in a bucket, 20 yards down the field, and some guy's ready to make a play there. So yeah, it's not the most explosive wide receiver, skill position group that you're going to see, but they got some guys that can catch the ball and get you some yards, certainly.
All right, biggest takeaway though, I kind of buried the lead here, and Matt Maher, he was obviously listening to the locker room yesterday. The emergence of "That's Our Best Kid" yesterday in the press box. I don't know if y'all heard it. I'll be short. So in the press box, sometimes you get people cheering in the press box. Sometimes it's kind of awkward. There was this one guy with a country twang that kept bitching, whether it was intentional grounding. That's intentional grounding. That's intentional grounding. We just kept hearing it. I just figured it was like an old Colts media type. And when Alec Pierce was ejected, all you heard was, "That's our best kid. That's our best kid. That's our best effing kid." And I was like, who is that? It was GM Chris Ballard. Just screaming, "That's our best kid." So from now on, when you see Chris Ballard, just say, "That's our best kid."
That's incredible. And it took a minute. And you were the one that noticed who it was. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is him. And a lot of GMs don't sit there. Sometimes you end up with some front office people and stuff there. But Ballard right there in the press box, taking his notes and watching the game and everything. And yeah, he was very upset that Alec Pierce got ejected in that one.
He was very upset. Let's go to the chat real quick here on Reaction Monday. We'll transition into Steeler mode in a sec.
Swarm.
Logan Taylor says Schultz had a catch of the year yesterday, the one-hander. Yeah, it was actually it was short-lived, but it was nice to see Dalton Schultz perform well, even if it was a short time, because the previous couple weeks had been kind of ugly for Dalton Schultz. He looked a lot more like 2025 Dalton Schultz after 2 weeks of looking more and more like 2024 Dalton Schultz the 2 previous weeks.
Yeah, it was good to see the bounce back from Schultz. And if you were a betting man, he hit his over total in the opening drive.
Max says, "I really want an America's Game style doc made about this team after we win the Super Bowl."
Look, there will be no shortage of things to consume if this team goes on a run and wins the Super Bowl.
Tayswell says Pittsburgh 23-0 on Monday Night Football, but I'm still confident. 23-0. Oh, they've won their last 20. They've won 23 on Monday Night Football. Yes, they have. Texans have never won a road playoff game.
Have the has any of those Monday Night Football games ever been playoff Monday Night Football? Which has only been the Steelers haven't played playoff Monday Night Football, have they?
I would say probably not. That is pretty impressive, though. Malik says no chance of a Texans loss versus Pitt. Don't even want to hear it. They match up very bad against us. This is the best route for Texans. Jags versus Bills is a win-win for us. That's a good assist by you, Malik. Malik doesn't strike me as someone who passes the ball very much and pick up basketball. He strikes me as a guy who's going to shoot probably like 45 threes and yell at his teammates when they miss one.
No, that's a distributing small forward if I've ever seen one.
But he did just give me an assist because I had this on the rundown. Are you rooting for the Jags this week? My answer would be yes. My answer would be yes. Have them eliminate Buffalo for you. Now I know the home game is something that you would like to see, but you eliminate a team in front of you. So you hop up a seed. If you win and the Jags win, you're now the 3 seed. So you're next in line to host a playoff game if the 1 or 2 goes down. You don't have to play Buffalo. I know you've had success against Buffalo, and you will then be, assuming that you win and assuming that the Jags win, you will be the most battle-tested team in the AFC playoffs. So, yes, you're absolutely rooting for the Jags. If you're not, what the hell are you doing?
I'm rooting for the home game next week.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair.
I'm rooting for the Bills and the Chargers to pull upsets and the Texans to host a home game next week.
Against
the Bills.
I would rather the Jags get rid of the Bills. That's just me. I would rather the Jags get rid of the Bills. 100%.
I don't think Buffalo can score a lot of points. I think Jacksonville can. Yeah,
I think Jacksonville's going to win the game. I think Texans and Jags are both going to win their games. I think the Jags win the game. It's very obvious that that's where the smart people are leaning, and the way that they're playing and Buffalo's flaws and stuff. Josh Allen could easily crank up his game a notch or two, but I think the Jags win this game. It's my early shot.
If the Jags win this, they have a fun little matchup next week. Either the Texans coming to town or they take on the Patriots. So
Rich Boy says, why would you not want a home game? I would rather go to Buffalo, to New England, or to Jacksonville than host go to New England, go to Denver, or go to Jacksonville than host Buffalo.
There you go.
That's me. I have a healthy amount of fear for Buffalo. So that would be the answer why. Don't care about the home game. JB Allen, the Annihilator, says Tommy Togiai's touchdown was delayed but not denied. That TD was destined to happen, like the Texans winning the Super Bowl is destined to happen. By the way, y'all are all culture vultures throwing up the S. Even D'Amico yesterday.
We're all supporters of the Samoan way of life.
No, I saw that he definitely approved of it for you, but my goodness, a lot of S's getting thrown up out there.
But I thought the locker room and the sideline were all throwing it up when Togiai was getting it done yesterday.
Pop Heavy says, is Lassiter possibly better than Sting?
I'm not there yet. Could it be the case one day? Maybe, but I'm not there yet.
I think a case can be made that perhaps the Lassiter had a better season. And I know Stingley has some good numbers. I think it can. I mean, they were both really, 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 really good. But if you factor in like the complete display that Lassiter had, I think you can make a case. And that's not a knock on Stingley. I think Lassiter should have been a Pro Bowler. I think they both should have been Pro Bowlers. And I think Stingley's still better. But I think you can make a case that Lassiter might have had a better season, maybe. Case can be.
It's not a case I'd like to take on. I'm going to pass that caseload to somebody else.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought he was pretty good. Lassiter did his thing. Stingley did his thing.
They're used in very different ways. Like, I don't believe you would use Derek Stingley the way you use Kamari Lassiter. I don't believe you use Kamari Lassiter the way you use Derek Stingley.
I would much rather have Stingley than Lassiter, I would say. But as far as the season, like, doesn't mean that he's better. But yeah, and I do. Someone said that Lassiter gets more opportunities. I mean, Does that make it easier though? I don't know. Sean says 31 sacks given up this season, 54 last season. The Cole Pop effect. Also, thanks for pick number 38, Washington. Yeah, day 2 going to be extra fun. The man Cody Stoots dodges Cole Popovich.
You're gonna be dodging these fucking fists. You keep talking about that. Put you like Ali in the corner against Foreman.
Zenister says we're now undefeated with JJ. Like our matchup against the Steelers, the one and done curse might be lifted now that we aren't playing Saturday afternoon. Hoping for a showdown in Denver so I can go. That'd be sick, dude. Denver playoff game. That's nasty, dude. I'm rooting for you, my friend.
I would consider probably trying to go to that Denver game if they play Denver.
Yeah, that's a hell of an atmosphere, hell of a place to watch a game. Adrian says, Landry. Go ahead.
And let's be clear too. I don't think any of us think very highly of that offense.
Yeah.
Like I mean, we have a lot.
I don't think much about that team. Period. They're well coached, but no defense.
We have a lot of respect for the defense, but I don't think very highly of their offense at all.
Adrian says, Landry, are you dumb? Exclamation mark, all caps. We go to Buffalo. We go for Buffalo to play them at home for all caps AFC Championship game. No, I just want them out of the way. I don't feel going to Jacksonville, or Denver or New England. I have respect for Buffalo being battle tested and having Josh Allen. So I don't know if that's dumb. Then I guess the answer to your question is yes. But
how do you even host Buffalo? I guess Buffalo and the Texans would need to win, and then the Patriots win. And
so the Patriots, basically, Buffalo and the Texans would have to. Yeah, I don't even know if that's possible.
Yeah. No, maybe it is because Buffalo didn't beat Denver. You'd beat New England, and then you'd host Buffalo.
They both win both their playoff games, and then you host Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there you go. Yes,
that's actually that's harder to achieve, obviously, but that's better than playing Buffalo next week.
Yeah, that would be better. That would be better. Mike doesn't understand the Buffalo fear. A lot of people don't. They're not. It's not the same Buffalo. It's almost like fearing going to Baltimore this year. You know, maybe it's dated. Maybe I'm overvaluing it. Maybe there's an overestimation. But yeah, don't know. A lot of people kind of question that. I'm sure.
It's all about Josh Allen. It's not like Josh Allen and James Cook. There's no defender I'm super scared of over there.
Yeah. Travel Food with Malik says, I'm rooting for upsets for sure. We don't have to play Bills until AFC Championship if they win against Jags. Offense is dynamic. Don't want to play with them.
So he doesn't want to play Jacksonville because of the offense that they could potentially put on the field.
Yeah. Yeah.
They do have a lot of guys they trust over there in that wide receiver room.
Yeah, Brandon Cooks is kind of playing good.
No. I'm talking about Jacksonville.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Jacoby Myers. Parker Washington's one of the most underrated players in the league.
Washington, Myers, BTJ, it looked like they started to figure out how to use him better since they got Myers. Their tight end's good, Strange. They'll throw it to ETN every now and then. They've thrown it to Tootin.
Yes. It might be a little bit dated. SSP says I feared the Ravens as much as the Bills, to be honest. That's fair. And some might
more.
Yeah, more. Some might agree with you, and some might think that's dated.
I definitely think going to Baltimore playing Lamar and that defense is tougher than hosting Josh Allen.
Yeah, I wondered how Lamar's feeling this morning because he was clearly hurt. Like he's clearly hurt. That was a hell of an effort yesterday, by the way.
He's probably checking Twitter to see if they fired Harbaugh yet.
Brandon says, "What year is it?" I mean, for me, I guess I'm kind of in like the previous 5 years as opposed to this one when it comes to the amount. But I think the fear of Buffalo has as much to do with the playoff field as it does Buffalo. You know what I mean?
My fear of Buffalo is centered squarely around Josh Allen and James Cook.
Yeah, and the possibility of having to go there is gone too, and you've had success. JB Annihilator says, is Lassiter better than Quinyon Mitchell in Philadelphia?
I don't believe so. They're used differently. They're different kinds of cornerbacks. I do believe that each of them could do each other's job, though. So, I mean, they were drafted in the same draft class. Quinyon Mitchell, to me, is one of the best corners in football. Lassiter's not far behind him, though.
Stefan says, greetings from Germany. Whenever Landry teases a unit or player, the perform better after 2 weeks. Evidence needed. Look at special teams and Dalton. Thanks for the best Houston football content.
He said, making fun of Dalton for a couple weeks, got it back on track.
Thank you, man. Shout out to Germany, man. Shout out to Germany.
Yeah, thanks for watching all the way across the world, basically.
It's a Jakob Johnson fan right there.
You're just assuming he's a Jakob Johnson fan?
I would have. I mean, if you're a German, would you like and you're a Texans fan, would you like the German Texan? I would say yes. That's a hell of an assumption. Like I don't feel like that's like too far fetched.
Kind of putting him in a box there.
Oh, put him in a box. I didn't say he couldn't be a fan of other players. I just said I'm sure he's a Jakob guy. Nathan Palmer says, "Thank you, Irsay family, from us Texans fans for not firing Ballard. That's our best kid." Primetime says, Landry, that's low-key racist, the German. What do you mean? Jakob Johnson's not even where does this even go?
I will say that it is always, whenever there is a player from Germany or has strong German heritage on the team, it always interesting in training camp when the German media shows up to specifically interview that player. And then they don't always have like a ton of great footage of the player doing stuff. Like the shooting periods for TV cameras is not super long. It's like Jakob didn't really do much, but there you go. And then Killian Zier was the international pathway player they had a couple years ago. Came to talk to him too.
More on the chat. Malik's on it right now. He says the Bills being a 7 seed can easily clean the AFC for you. Then watch them out in the championship game because Bills will face Denver next round. And yes, Kamari is better. So he thinks Lassiter is better than Stingley. So there's one take on that. I think you make a case he played better this year. Had a better season. But Stingley was still Pro Bowl caliber. Yeah, the Buffalo thing is interesting. Like I would just like them out of the way. Like the possibility of going to any of these other places, I think the Texans can just smack them around. So yeah, it's really just a subjective thing. But yeah, if Buffalo can clean it up for you, that would be great. But if they do clean it up for you, that probably means that Josh Allen's playing pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Although that hasn't stopped them from having success against him in the past, especially in that stadium. So yeah.
Just one clarifying point. Buffalo is the 6th seed.
Yeah, 6. Yeah, he had them as the 7. Yeah, they're the 6. The Chargers are the 7. Playing with
Bills, Chargers, 6, 7.
Sean says Collins against Ramsey will feed families. Are they gonna like match up the whole time?
I think he's just saying that like Jalen Ramsey's poor play is going to benefit Nico having a big day.
He did not play great.
He sucks now.
Yeah, he's old. He's old. Jeff says, please don't look past Pittsburgh. Rodgers is still him. We can look past whoever. I mean, I don't think they will, but we can look past whoever. The Texans can easily lose this game. Like we're gonna get into it. The Texans can easily lose this game. Like there's zero doubt about that. This is though who you would have wanted to play. Like even for like the don't look past Pittsburgh. There's not a single team that you would not that you would have rather played than Pittsburgh. There's no one.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, give me Pittsburgh all day, every day. That was the team that you felt like you matched up the best with.
Jerome, he says he's got a bad feeling. All these fans just looking past the Steelers think we're the Chiefs and we can just look past teams. Chiefs aren't in the playoffs. Who's stuck in the past Dom says, greetings from New Jersey. If we lose to that dinosaur Tomlin, I don't know what I will do. Who could you guys see derailing the playoff run more, Kaylee or CJ?
CJ.
Yeah, I mean, it could be either one. They're kind of connected, but yeah, a poor CJ performance could end you.
Yeah, I mean, you have this is not the regular season, and this is not the Las Vegas Raiders coming up. CJ has a bad game on Monday Night Football. They're losing. They're going home after one game. Like he's got to be consistent and probably good in all these games for them to have a chance to win, much less win.
Rich Boy Jay says Justin Tucker had another happy ending last night. He was not sad that they missed that field goal, I can promise you. All joking aside, he was not disappointed that they missed that field goal, I can assure you.
I was stunned by both of those kickers at the end of the game. Like Boswell, he's missed some field goals, but
he hasn't missed an extra point since the 23rd, I think December 16th of 2023.
To miss that extra point was crazy. And for them to get, I mean, it's like Loop had some issues and some accuracy issues earlier this year, but for them to get
they were from deep,
very clearly in his range, and for him to just woo, like, oh my goodness, he did it for Lamar, so they'll make changes.
And then the end of the game with the communication and everything going on with Arthur Smith and Aaron Rodgers, it was like, the hell's going on here?
Push the fucking button.
Yeah, I don't know what is that. What he was?
He kept going like he kept putting his hand like the thumb, because I guess Arthur Smith was calling the play and Rodgers couldn't hear it, and I guess he didn't have his hand on the right button, and Rodgers was like, "Push the fucking button."
He was pissed. He was.
They had to burn that timeout late. On the goal line?
2 timeouts.
Well, I'm talking about their last timeout. After they'd already burned those first 2.
The timeout before was them trying to be cute and like trick Baltimore. Then they huddled up and then they had to call it again. Yeah, it was a God, that was an ugly ass win. I couldn't imagine being either one of those teams. It just would have been insane.
You're having like a dissection of the game before you figure out even anything about the playoffs. You're trying to figure out, how did it go wrong here? What's going on here? How the Pittsburgh defense just loses Zay Flowers twice. It's like, what are you doing?
Well, I would say the first one was Lamar extending the play and Patrick Queen being on him. I don't think that's like I know Zay Flowers has had his issues, but if you're going to put Patrick Queen is going to end up on him, I don't think that's like a recipe for success. Like, I don't think I would put Henry To'o on with Zay Flowers if you wanted to have success.
I wouldn't put Aziz on Zay Flowers.
Yeah, I don't know how Patrick Queen ended up on him. There was a lot of miscommunication there in that situation. It is going to be 20 to 30 degrees, by the way, in Pittsburgh, and they are kicking off the grass. So Fairbairn, cold weather Fairbairn, record-setting Fairbairn. I want to ask this question about Kaimi Fairbairn. What does Fairbairn records say about this team? What does it say about this team? The fact that the Texans have a kicker, 17-game season, that has tied for the most field goals ever made in a season. What does that say about the team? It's I want to hear your takeaway on this.
Well, offensively, it shows a team with some mega ineptitude in the red zone. And we've seen it throughout most of the season. They have had some very, very poor red zone performances. It's gotten a little bit better here at the back end, but it shows primarily they're a bad red zone team. It also shows their inability to continue drives, because a lot of this stuff, they get into field goal range and then the drive dies and you have a chance for the guy to make the kick. And it also is typically indicative of a really good defense too. If you kick this many field goals and you still win this many games, you have a really good defense.
Yeah, I would agree with everything that you just said. And they're lucky to have Kaimi Fairbairn. I think it says that they're lucky to have him. I think he's bailed them out a lot. But I kind of looked at the teams that were in this company of where Kaimi is, and he tied David Akers, who was on the 49ers at the time. And
2011 49ers.
They had Alex Smith, and the 49ers, after that year, despite going to the AFC Championship, they said, we got to elevate our offense. So they passed the torch to Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick had a nice run. The offense got better. So Alex Smith, bye-bye. They said goodbye to him. Then you look at Chris Boswell last season. He was 3 behind. These are the guys that are in the company from 40 to 44 a season. Boswell last season, they had Russell Wilson and they had Justin Fields at quarterback, and they were in that range. Myers this season with the Seahawks, that's interesting. That's a pretty good offense, but they're there. So he had 3 less. And then last year, Brandon Aubrey, Dak Prescott only played 8 games. You had Cooper Rush for 8 and Trey Lance for 1. And then you go to Carlson with the Raiders, Derek Carr. So the teams that are in this company are the Cowboys with less than half a season of Dak Prescott, Derek Carr in 2021 with the Raiders. I think that might have been the year before, like around when they thought about getting rid of him. And then Chris Boswell with Fields and Russ Wilson, and Alex Smith with the 49ers. There aren't too many teams with elite quarterbacks that kick that many field goals. So I agree with everything you said. I think it also speaks to kind of the quarterback play, because let's be honest, quarterback play, you're converting on 3rd down. You're getting the job done. So I do think that company kind of speaks to where the quarterback play has been this season. It hasn't been awesome. Alex Smith was fine. It was good enough. But I think that kind of speaks to that.
Oh, and just check just to take a look. 2011 San Fran in the red zone, 30th, 40% touchdown rate. Texans 2025 in the red zone, 30th, 46% touchdown rate. So very, very similar to that 2011 team from San Francisco. Didn't throw a lot of interceptions. Alex Smith led the league in interception percentage that year. Didn't throw a ton of touchdowns either. The one massive difference that I would say from obviously that 2011 team to the Texans team from an offensive standpoint, Frank Gore was like at the peak of his powers there. And like 2011, Frank Gore's better than whatever version of Woody Marks they run out there. So like that's a really big difference that San Fran had. They had Frank Gore and moved the ball pretty well on the ground because they were limited in the air.
Yeah. So I think we covered that. And speaking of Kaimi Fairbairn, I'm anticipating, but you never know with Cody's picks. I'm anticipating that we'll get him as a Texans Turf King of the Turf. Speaking of Texans Turf, shout out to Texans Turf. We met someone the other day at our remote who let Dan do his backyard, and it looked lovely. He showed us the picture. I said, man, I bet you're enjoying the backyard. He said, I can't leave there. I do work out there now because I enjoy it so much.
Well, the biggest thing he said was, I used to never go in my backyard, and now I go in there all the time.
Now he's there, and it looks beautiful. I wanted to go in that backyard just looking at it, but I don't have to go to his backyard because I got it in my backyard because Dan is the man. Putting greens, playing surfaces, whatever. No job too big, no job too small. The drainage is covered. It's always green. It's always clean. Eliminate that mud. Eliminate those insects. And always remember, Texans Turf. Dan is the man. Now, in the spirit of Texans Turf, Cody Stoots presents the Kings of the Turf. And if Kaimi Fairbairn's not in there, then Cody, you will no longer be able to display Kings of the Turf.
Okay, well, you're an idiot because, of course, Kaimi Fairbairn is in there. Kaimi Fairbairn, 6 field goals, good on the kickoffs. Ties the single season record for most field goals. Not great, but hey, it is what it is. You'd rather him kick the field goals and make them than not. And so he definitely is on there. Xavier Hutchinson made it for me. I originally had Woody Marks there because Woody had some really tough yards. Excellent, I thought, on the ground against the Colts. But Hutchinson had a bunch of plays that got them into either scoring position for a field goal or for touchdown. So I thought Hutchinson had a really nice day. And you knew I was putting Tommy Togiai on here. Like, that was a lock. Scores the touchdown at the end, but independent of scoring the touchdown, had the tackle for a loss, had a pass deflection, and was really stout there in the interior of the defensive line for the Texans. And then, of course, scored the touchdown there at the end.
Yep. There you go. Yeah, you did a good job, Cody. That was a good job. Throw up your ass.
Kings of the turf. Togiai, Fairbairn, and Hutchinson.
So basically, you're throwing up the S and you're throwing up the X.
Give it to you.
So there you go. How about that? 2 letters right there. I don't know what Fairbairn throws up, like Hawaii, something like that. Yeah, there you go. So there you go. Throw up the S, throw up the X, throw up the Hawaii.
S, X. Huh.
There you go. Kings of the Turf, presented by Texas Turf.
Damn, I should have just done emojis instead of the players.
Language, dude.
Swarm.
The Rhino says, ready for the playoffs and proud to be y'all's best guy. That's our best kid. That's our best kid.
Oh, DeRino made me laugh the other day because he has the long-standing feud with you over Krispy Kreme.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And he started the new year and he's like, my year's about balance. I had this big workout, so now I'm going to get a Krispy Kreme donut. And I was like, I know Landry would hate that.
Krispy Kreme's the worst, man. If you're going to get, like, even Dunkin' Donuts is better than Krispy Kreme.
Speaking of donuts.
Yes, this was weird. I got a lot. Let's read this one real quick. But yes, this was very weird to see. The Manby says Rodgers was dumping the ball off all last night, and if he does that next week, our defense will be strong. Yeah, there's potential for some big licks on Monday night, and we ain't talking about Tootsie Pops.
Yeah, if he's throwing that, those floaters over the middle, someone's getting decapitated.
But as you were.
All right, speaking of donuts, we're waiting in the locker room for guys to get in there to get ready for their day or, weightlifting or whatever. And Danielle Hunter walks in and he's eating something. And I'm like, that can't be what I think it is. Danielle Hunter, Mr., the cyborg, looks like Mr. Universe, basically, eating a donut. I was shocked by this. And it didn't look like it was some like protein donut either. Like, it looked like a real honest to God donut. And so I don't think Danielle Hunter's worried a damn bit about the Pittsburgh Steelers if he's having a donut.
Monday might be his cheat meal. That's probably like his cheat meal. 1 donut, and then I'm going to go work out because it was before he was going to lift. Maybe he's trying to get some energy.
Oh, I guess there are a lot of workout people that just crush a bunch of sugar right before a workout sometimes. So maybe that was the case.
He was 15 minutes away, but I did think it was weird to see the guy who didn't even know acted. I could never tell. Like, he didn't know what a Juicy Lucy was with me. The Minnesota burger that they take pride in, say that, eating a donut was a little bit strange to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
On the chat, Shifty Mike says, if Bills, us, and LA win, we host Buffalo.
That is correct.
Yes. That's a hell of a parlay. Go ahead and put that one together, Shifty. Tell me what it pays. Put it together right now. Do a money line parlay. Bills, Texans, because Bills is a pick 'em. Just do all money lines. So no points. Bills, Texans, and the Chargers. What's that parlay pay?
Bills, Texans, Chargers. It pays a little over 6.5 to 1.
That's not great. That's not great.
So, I mean, the Texans are minus 180 money line favorites, and the Bills are where I am minus 120 money line favorites.
If the Chargers win this game, props to them. They're kind of beat to crap, but I mean, they are facing a team that hasn't really been.
If you think the Bills are going to cover the 1.5, it jumps it to 7 to 1.
I thought it was 3.5. Did it went down to 1.5?
1.5 in the Bills Jaguars game.
It was 3-5. So someone bet on that.
It was 3-5?
It was 3-5, brother. I saw it yesterday. It was 3-5. I know that for a fact.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was 3-5. Someone said, give me that 3-5 that has a lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah. If you think the Texans are going to cover the 3, now all of a sudden you get to 10 to 1.
Sean says our offense is basically a valet service. We drive the ball for 60 yards just to hand the keys to the kicker and let him finish the job.
Your scoring opportunity, Mr. Fairbairn?
Mark says this feels like last playoff appearance for y'all. Does this feel like the past playoff appearances for y'all? No, it's different. It's the first time that you're starting the playoffs out on the road. It's the first time you're not playing early on a Saturday. They're saying a lot. The one thing that the Texans cannot do, and D'Amico today was a little bit pissy about being asked about the Steelers. I think in fairness, and I kind of asked about it, it wasn't that he thought that people were talking too much about the Steelers. It's that normally whenever the Texans finish a game, you can kind of look at the next team like at some point, and I'm sure that they stay up till like sometimes they'll probably stay up till 10:30, 11 and do it, and then go wake up in the morning and go do it. But in this instance, you got to sit around, you stay up till 11 o'clock, you watch them, you got to come in the morning, and you haven't really done much preparation on them. So I don't think D'Amico had like a lot of information on the Steelers.
Yeah.
But the one thing that they cannot do, the Texans can't play the underdog card in this. Like, they're the most popular pick, quote, underdog pick to make the Super Bowl among national media types. This is probably the most praise that the Texans have gotten heading into the playoffs in franchise history. Would you agree? I mean, like, Schaub was hurt. So, like, if Schaub had been healthy, then obviously the Texans would have got that love. But, like, I don't think there's ever been a Texans team in franchise history that's gotten this much love heading into the playoffs.
Yeah, even the 2012 team, like, I think there were some people that didn't really believe very much in that 2012 version of the Texans. So, yeah, I think this is definitely the team that you should feel the best about as they head to the playoffs.
So to answer the question, yeah, it feels a lot different for me. Mike says, do we get more Brooks carries in the playoffs?
Mike with the Gary Payton to Landry.
Is Jawar Jordan okay?
I saw him walking around today in the locker room. He looked fine.
Yeah. So initially, whenever a guy leaves and he doesn't come back in the second half, like when you see just that information, you say, well, damn, he must be really hurt. But given the fact that they rested the starters and they used British Brooks at running back in the second half, I don't know that you can really put as much stock in that. So I think that's something to keep an eye on. I will say this. British Brooks is better than Nick Chubb. Like, as far as running the ball, he might not be as good at pass blocking or anything like that, but the theory, like, we don't get everything right. There's a lot of stuff that we'll be wrong about, and it's very well documented. It's very well embraced when we're wrong. One thing we were right about was Nick Chubb, the least amount of explosiveness of all the Texans running backs. And anytime literally any other running back gets a carry, it's very apparent they have a little bit more juice than Nick Chubb. I was a little bit surprised by how good British Brooks looked. And maybe I shouldn't be, but it just feels like that could have been something that you could have used in some way, shape, or form this year, especially on short yardage with just like the cutbacks, the sheer speed, all that. I mean, you did hand him the ball on two consecutive fullback dives in a crucial short yardage situation. So I watched that and I say, I mean, that's the first time that we really saw that this year. It's a little bit weird to me.
Yeah, I would have seeing that. I was wondering if there was, something they held back for earlier this year. British Brooks had a really nice game.
Yeah, and it's the way it looked too, like, yeah,
violent.
Yeah, he's a violent SOB on special teams, but yeah, I don't know that we see him get more carries though. I am interested by how they handle Nick Chubb. Are you not?
Well, Panda asked a good question. I think they still give Nick Chubb his bonus. He ended 94 yards short.
By the way, what an asshole tweet by Adam Schefter, by the way. I mean, that is where you're either just a robot or you just don't like Nick Chubb. I mean, I've seen him put out like, this guy needs this much. Like Alec Pierce, I think needed less than 100 yards or something to get 1,000. Adam Schefter tweets out the night before, Nick Chubb needs 94 yards to get a bonus. And I'm like, what? Are you what?
What a jerk, Adam Schefter.
What an a-hole he is, man.
What I would say is teams typically don't give players that bonus if they're 12 games away from earning the bonus.
Yeah.
It's $250K. So if they wanted to break him off $250K, it probably wouldn't hurt anybody's feelings, and it probably wouldn't be probably wouldn't keep you from doing something in the free agency.
Yeah, I would agree with that. 700 Raptor. By the way, John McClain going to join us Friday at Spanky's.
McClain and the posse.
The posse. 700 Raptor says, Landry, can you get McClain to explain when his hatred for the Texans started? I'm sure he's picking the Steelers. Yeah, right.
McClain ain't picking the Steelers. No way.
Steelers, yeah. I don't think he hates the Texans either. I think he just has takes. But yeah, John McClain hates the Steelers.
He was fired up early in that game.
Zinister says, Cody, if you pronounce Emy's name, I'll pay for all your drinks in Denver if we go.
Oh, the whole like the Hawaiian pronunciation, because it's like
Vandermeer can do it.
John Christian Kaimi, and then there's like another 26 letters. I got no shot.
So that's a no for you, dog.
Kaimi Noah Loa Meka Ike Oke Ikum Paya Fairbairn.
That's so offensive, dude. That's so offensive.
How was that offensive?
You shouldn't have done that. I'm actually offended.
You can't be going getting offended for somebody else.
That's offensive, man. I'm offended.
I gave it a shot.
I apologize to the Hawaiians. Good Lord. My gosh.
What
an absolute disgrace.
All I did was read it as I could see it.
Goodness gracious, man. My gosh. Lord. Anyway, let's move on quickly. I apologize for Cody's do you have any context from this game, Cody?
I do have Cody's context for this game. Alec Pierce's best game of his NFL career. I think it's the second or third most yards he's ever had in a game, and 2 touchdown game, 4 receptions in this one. Now,
that's their best kid. That's their best kid.
That's their best kid. I think the Texans probably lose the game if he doesn't get ejected.
Yeah.
Because nobody was slowing him down. And so his ejection ended up being a big deal. That's the best game of his NFL career. Again, the explosive play is something to pay attention to. Third straight game that the offensive line did not allow a sack. Can you remember the last time the offensive line had 3 straight games of no sacks allowed?
I can't.
It was 2023. They did not allow a sack to Jacksonville, Pittsburgh, and Atlanta.
Which is crazy when you factor in how depleted the offensive line was around that time.
Yeah, that was Deculus and Gerard Christensen at left guard or left tackle. That was Kendrick Green playing against the Steelers. Yeah, they were beat up, but that was CJ's rookie year. That was the first time since 2023 they've had 3 straight games. They haven't allowed a sack. Woody Marks' yards per carry at 4.8 yesterday was his second highest of the season, behind only his San Fran game. So I think he's getting into a groove. And he told me that he's kind of finally seeing things the way he needs to and being patient with setting things up. And then a couple of offensive line stats last year versus this year. Last year, quarterback sacks per game, 3.4. That was 30th. This year, 1.8. That's 9th. Sack percentage last year, 9.34. That was 30th. This year, 5.06. That's 8th.
Pop, lock, and drop it. Pop, lock, and drop it.
And quarterback pressure percentage Last year, 37.9. That was 28th. This year, 31.9. That was 10th in the NFL.
Pop, lock, and drop it. Pop, lock, and drop it.
Okay. There we go.
There's my context for you.
It's Cody's context. There you go. Shout out to Cole Popovich, even though Cody's ducking you. We'll give you some credit. The offensive line has gotten better.
It's compared to last year, statistically, it's leaps and bounds better.
Onzi Chat, ESG Soccer.
Swarm.
He says, do we have a final answer for why we screwed away all of Mixon's money this year? Also, I'm from the area. Three Rivers is terrible win for Fairbairn.
I mean, they didn't
the kick.
They didn't screw away Mixon's money, but he had a contract for this year. They thought he was going to play it. Like they weren't getting rid of him after one season. Like then he got hurt and then he never played. I guess he's asking maybe why they didn't go after his money.
I don't know. That's something we know nothing about.
Yeah.
Wish we did. Gunner says, I'm late to the show, but Landry is scared of Josh Allen in Buffalo. JA has shown to be a choke artist in the playoffs, and Houston has put BTA on Josh Allen. Houston versus Buffalo next week. Let's go. I don't know that he's shown to be a choke artist. He's lost to Kansas City a couple of times. I don't know. I think there's actually been some going down in glorious defeat. I don't know about all that. The better argument would be the Texans have owned his ass. Like D'Amico Ryans has owned his ass, but I don't think that he's shown to be a choke artist in the playoffs. I don't have the numbers in front of me or anything like that, but I don't think that that's necessarily the case. Last year, didn't Kincaid drop the pass on like a crazy ass effort by Josh Allen? I think that's why they lost. And then Kansas City's been kind of a thorn on the side. There was the one time where the Chiefs, how long did it take them to get down the field? The Tyreek Hill last year, like 19 seconds or something like that.
The 19 seconds one.
Yeah, I don't know that Josh Allen has shown to be a choke artist. I think that's kind of counter. But the Texans have shown, especially at NRG, that they, under D'Amico, they own him.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't agree with the choke artist standpoint, certainly not with the 19-second stuff. I do wonder, though, if they get booted in the first round, which I don't believe they will.
McDermott's gone.
If they'll make some wholesale changes there.
Yeah, they got to do something at this point, especially if you don't even have to go through Kansas City and it happens. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. So I think we've covered about everything we need to cover when it comes to the Colts game. Is there anything that you would like to add in regards to this Indianapolis game? Any other observations? I will say this: Kayvon Wallace, not his best performance. There are people asking me, "What about your boy?" Yeah, he sucked. Like I don't. What do you mean? He had one good game. He had one bad game. He got cooked by Alec Pierce, and then he dropped an interception where he looked like Smalls from Sandlot the first time he tried to catch a baseball. So, yeah, he didn't play good. Like, he played bad.
He did have that one nice tackle for a loss, though.
And he also did scare Michael Pittman on one where Michael Pittman saw 38 coming through. But, yeah, he wasn't good.
And that tackle for a loss kind of set up the Daniil play, which then set up the weird C.J. Stroud thievery from Tommy Togiai. I mean, we all knew this. They're incredibly shallow from a depth standpoint in the secondary. But that's not breaking news to anybody. And I would tell you, most teams in the league feel pretty bad about their third or fourth or fifth corner or whatever it is, or their third or fourth or fifth safety, whatever you want to say. So I'm not really breaking any news to anybody there. I mean, you just got to cut it out and make it happen. And then Jawar Jordan's, you mentioned it a little bit, and we thought he looked okay walking around, but Jawar Jordan's ankle definitely something to pay attention to, because that was a guy you were going to lean on a little bit with Woody Marks.
Patrick asked this. I think this is a fair question. Have we done an analysis of player performances after SNL interviews? Now, we don't ask for interviews every week. I think Andrews played okay. Jawar Jordan was good. He was good the week after.
Yeah.
Chargers. Trent Brown was supposed to be interviewed by us, and for some reason there was a little bit of a mix-up, and he got hurt that week. So, and then Kayvon Wallace, not the best performance. Second game in 410 days, 15. So we have that. Is there I think that's it. We're going to try to get Big Trent this week.
We had
Ingram.
I'm looking at Togiai. Togiai was really good around the interview.
Yes, he was.
And then Ingram was, I don't think PFF Ed was very good after we talked to him.
Yeah, it's an interesting batting average. It can go a number of ways.
It's hit or miss. It's hit or miss.
It's a very hit or miss thing, you know.
Hold on, let me see here. 19th. Trying to sync it up with the Texans schedule and see.
Yeah, it's definitely not a jinx and good thing. It can go anyway. Like it's not. There's no like clear.
Yeah, Ed Ingram. We had him ahead of the Seattle game, and that was not good.
Wow. Well, if we're being honest, Lake and Tomlinson was worse.
Yeah, but I mean, Ed had the two of the only penalties he had all season long in that game. Two of the only hurries and pressures he's been credited with all season long in that game.
Chris says, has the O faced any 3-4 defenses this season?
Yes, they have. Off the top of my head, Denver runs a 3-4. Somebody else does too. The Texans, the thing is that the teams have to deal with, the Texans run 11 personnel, which is 3 wide receivers, just about as much as anybody. So you don't really see base very much.
Green Bean P says, did y'all hear the rumor about Mixon shooting himself in the foot? People have said it. I don't really, that seems kind of weird to me, but it's a weird situation. So quite frankly, I'm not going to sit here. Here's the deal. Here's the deal. I'm not going to dispute any rumor about Joe Mixon at this point. You can say whatever you want and have your own theory. You could say Bigfoot emerged while he was streaming video games and bit his fucking foot off at this point. And I'm not going to dispute that because it's such a weird situation and they're being so weird about it. So I'm not going to sit here and co-sign this. It sounds a little outlandish, but I'm not going to sit here and refute anything because it's been such a weird situation.
All things could be considered and all things should be taken with a grain of salt.
By the way, would you rather, all right, this is a serious question, so I need you to be serious for a second. And I really don't want you to smile or anything like that. Okay.
Okay.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Here's my question. If you had to pick one, would you rather shoot yourself in the foot or have Bigfoot bite a piece of your foot off? Not your whole foot, but bite a piece of your foot off, and it has to be the size of the bullet hole. Now, the pain tolerance is not negotiable. We don't know what it's going to feel like with Bigfoot, but if I told you you have a chance, you're either going to shoot a hole through your foot or you get Bigfoot to emerge and bite your foot about the size of a bullet hole, which one would you rather have?
I have to imagine I'm going to be missing the piece that Bigfoot takes with it for the rest of my life. So I'm going to have like a piece missing on my foot. So I'd probably take the bullet hole. And just come up with a goofy story about how I got that injury. I would never tell anybody I shot myself. I'd say I got in a bar fight and I was wrestling the gun away from the guy and he shot me in the foot. But if I was missing a piece of my foot, people would be like, wow, what happened to your foot?
Yeah, I think it'd be much cooler to have Bigfoot just bite your shit.
Well, who's going to believe me? How'd you lose a piece of your foot? Bigfoot bit it off.
Oh, I'd be sick though. Nobody would believe you. That would suck.
Yeah, it's between me and it's just between me and Bigfoot.
Yeah, because if you said Bigfoot, then people would assume that you shot yourself. So it's kind of like a damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like the real question that I basically asked you was, do you want to look like an effing liar or do you want to shoot yourself in the foot?
Yeah,
and look like and not look like a liar.
I'll just shoot myself in the foot and be a liar versus look like a liar.
Yeah, that's fair. Jake on the chat says, with hindsight being 2020, would you guys have chose Henry over Mixon?
You mean Derrick Henry?
Yeah, I mean, so you get 2 years of Derrick Henry versus 1 year of Joe Mixon. Yeah, I would. I mean, yeah,
Yeah, with hindsight being 2020, I definitely would go back and take Derrick Henry.
yeah. I mean, I would think so. Yeah, if you give me that right now, yes.
Now, there's some moments where maybe this offensive line wouldn't have been conducive to Henry replicating some of his success in Baltimore. Sure. I got a hunch that Bobby Slowick and Nick Caley wouldn't have forgot Derrick Henry is on their team like Harbaugh's squad does often.
Very fair. Very fair. All right, so we have some news, and you're not avoiding this one, Cody. You're not avoiding this one, buddy. This Friday at Spanky's, Cody has to wear pajama pants. 2 Spankies. The Pittsburgh Steelers, we know their fans like pajama pants. They wear them to church. Cody Stoots now officially has to wear pajama pants, 2 Spankies on Friday. And he's not allowed to tell anyone that doesn't know the bit that he is wearing pajama pants for a bit. He has to just
that was never agreed to.
He has to just wear the pajama pants like it's a normal thing. And anyone who doesn't know the bit cannot be told that it is a bit. So you have to rock the pajama pants and you have to partake.
The bit agreement was never present. So, and it was during the show.
No, you have to wear them to practice.
I'm not wearing them to practice.
What?
That was not the agreement.
Cody, you got to wear them to practice.
I'm not. That's it. That sacrifices my credibility as a reporter wearing fucking pajama pants.
You should
know that was never the agreement.
You just didn't think Pittsburgh was going to win, so you agreed to all these things, and now all of a sudden you're backtracking.
I never agreed to wear them to practice. You're trying to add shit into the equation. You're a lawyer's nightmare. Sir, we had an agreement.
All right. So just pajama pants and Spankies. I mean, you don't have to wear the pajama pants if you don't want to. You can get rid of that. It sounds
I gotta go find some. I don't have any.
Yeah, you'll be able to find some. Sure.
I gotta go find some.
All right. So glass half empty, glass half full. I don't really know, like at this point, with how things shaped up for the Texans in the playoffs. I guess the glass half empty would be you still have a lot of questions on offense. But glass half full, yeah, it's shaped up. You could easily be one and done. You could easily get to the Super Bowl, but it is shaped up the way that the Texans wanted it to shape up. Whether that ends in the result that they desire, TBD. But this is definitely the layout that you would have wanted.
Yeah, I would think that the empty would be those explosive plays are still a little issue here for this defense. Got to watch out for that. And the full is you laid it out with the second best scenario that you could have had. The first would have been, I guess, hosting a playoff game, but the second best scenario was 5 seed in Pittsburgh. So you got what most of us wanted, and let's see what they do.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun. We look forward to it, and it's a unique situation for the Texans. Monday Night Football. No more of that Saturday game. A lot of people had jokes. Even the Texans admin had jokes when it came to that. It's gonna be fun though. I'm pumped for it. I know you're pumped for it. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of storylines. We'll dive into the actual matchup. It's actually awesome that we get to dive into a matchup as much as we have. I guess the Chargers we got to, but like the Colts, the state with where the Cardinals,
Arizona, the Raiders.
Yeah, like it was just kind of like you're focused on the big picture, and the immediate matchup didn't matter as much. But getting to break down a football game is awesome. Can't wait.
Yeah. It's gonna be a blast.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a hell of a time. Rich Boy says Cody should have to wear Cookie Monster pajamas.
You know where I'm gonna get the pajama pants? The dealer's outlet.
Yep, that was what I was thinking too. Shout out to that. That's like one of 9 remaining now. Appreciate everyone for rolling through. This has been Reaction Monday. Be on the lookout for the Texans Collective at 6. I'm interested to hear what Sean and Reggie have to say. If you haven't subscribed to that channel, please do so. The locker room will be live at 10:30. We'll react to some of the stuff D'Amico Ryans had to say there, as well as right here, Manana. Interesting week for the Texans. So tomorrow's basically a Monday. It gets pushed back. It gets pushed back. So
practice 1 is Thursday, practice 2 is Friday, practice 3 is Saturday.
Yeah, so we're covering a practice on Saturday. So that'll be fun. And always remember, when it comes to this Texan stuff, we're all in it together.
Eat good, sleep good, be good. We'll talk Texans again soon. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Sorry to the Hawaiian folk out there once again. I apologize for him.
I did my best.